My family voted me most likely to end up homeless at reunion. 10 years later, I'm the landlord deciding whether to renew their leases. Before I share what happened next, do me one favor. Subscribe and tell me the city or country you're watching from. I love knowing where our stories reach. The certificate was laminated. That's what got me. My cousin Everly spent actual money to make my humiliation permanent. Most likely to end up homeless, Lillian Thompson in glossy Comic Sans, complete with a fake seal. Everyone laughed as Uncle Mateo handed it to me at the 2014 family reunion, his belly shaking under his "World's Best Dad" shirt. I was 23, working doubles at Ryby's diner, living in a studio apartment in East Oakland that smelled like cigarette smoke from the previous tenant. My Aunt Lorraine stage whispered, "Girl probably can't even afford the frame for that." More laughter. My grandmother, Mama Jean, the only person who ever believed in me, had died 6 months before. I had nobody. Speech. My brother Deshaun called out, his arm around his pregnant wife, Mercedes. They just bought a 3-bedroom in the suburbs. Everyone was doing better than me, or so they thought. I stood there in my thrift store dress, holding that certificate, feeling every eye dissecting my failures. "Thanks," I said quietly. "I'll treasure this." My mother, Patricia, wouldn't even look at me. She was too busy bragging to her sisters about Deshaun's promotion at the telecommunications company. I was the daughter she introduced with "she's figuring things out." Code for disappointment. That night in my tiny apartment, I pinned that certificate to my wall. Not as motivation, as evidence. I wanted to remember exactly how they made me feel. The shame burning through my chest. The way my hands shook. The sound of their laughter. I didn't know then that humiliation could be fuel. But I was about to learn. 3 weeks after the reunion, I got a call from a lawyer named Bernard Scott. "Miss Thompson, I'm handling your grandmother's estate. Can you come to my office?" Mama Jean's estate? She lived in a rent-controlled apartment and survived on Social Security. I assumed she'd left me her Bible and maybe her costume jewelry. Still, I took the bus to downtown Oakland, 45 minutes each way. Mr. Scott slid papers across his desk. "Your grandmother owned 4 properties. Small apartment buildings in West Oakland, purchased in the 60s and 70s. She left everything to you." My vision blurred. That's not possible. She lived in a 1-bedroom. She was very careful with money. Very private. She wanted you to have security. He pointed to addresses. Buildings I'd walked past 1,000 times, never knowing. Total value. Approximately $2 million. They need work, but the location is $2 million. I couldn't breathe. Why didn't she tell anyone? She did. He told you. 3 years ago. You were at her apartment and she showed you the deed to the first building. Do you remember? Then it hit me. I was 20, struggling through community college. She'd pulled out papers saying, "Baby, I want you to know something." But I'd been distracted, worried about my shift at the diner, barely listening. "I need you to sign here," Mr. Scott continued. "There are tenants, management companies involved. It's complicated." My family didn't know. Not my mother, not Deshaun, not Uncle Mateo with his Mercedes and designer watches. None of them knew Mama Jean had died a millionaire. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Instead, I did what Mama Jean always taught me. I educated myself. I bought books on property management, rental law, real estate investment. I watched YouTube videos until 3 a.m. after my diner shifts. I called the property management company handling Mama Jean's buildings. The manager, a white guy named Todd, was patronizing from the jump. "Look, sweetheart, these properties are complex. Why don't you just sell them? I know investors who'd." "I'm not selling." My voice was steel. "I want full reports on every unit, Every tenant, every expense. I want to understand everything. He sighed like I'd asked him to explain quantum physics to a toddler. This isn't Monopoly. Real estate is complicated. Maybe you should talk to your husband or... I don't have a husband. Send me the reports by Friday. The documents revealed everything. Todd was skimming, charging for repairs that never happened, pocketing security deposits, marking vacant units as occupied. He'd been stealing from Mama Jean for years, probably thinking she was too old to notice. I fired him via email. Hired a black woman property manager named Diane who actually knew her stuff. She walked me through everything: tenant rights, maintenance schedules, market rates. These buildings are gold mines, Diane said, standing in the courtyard of the largest property on 7th Street. West Oakland is gentrifying fast. In 5 years, these units could triple in value. I kept working at Ryby's diner. Kept living in my studio. Saved every penny from the rental income. I was learning, planning, waiting. My family still had no idea. 8 months after Mama Jean died, my phone rang. Everly. We hadn't spoken since the reunion. Hey Lillian girl, I need a favor. Her voice had that fake sweetness she used when she wanted something. Me and Jerome are looking for an apartment. 2-bedroom, reasonable rent. You still working at that diner? Maybe you hear about openings. I smiled. Actually, I might know a place. Where are you looking? West Oakland. We can afford maybe $1,500 a month. Jerome's between jobs right now, but he's got interviews. Jerome was always between jobs. Everly worked part-time at a call center, spent her money on weaves and designer bags. They'd been living with her mother, but apparently that situation had imploded. I'll text you an address, I said. It's one of my properties. Silence. Your properties? Yeah. I own a few buildings. Inherited them from Mama Jean. Come by Saturday at 2. Bring your IDs, pay stubs, references. Wait, what? You own buildings? Since when? Since last year. See you Saturday. I hung up before she could ask more questions. That Saturday, Everly and Jerome showed up in his beat-up Nissan. Their mouths dropped when I pulled up in the used Lexus I'd just bought. Nothing flashy but reliable and clean. This is yours. Everly's voice was hollow. The building? Yes. Come on, I'll show you Unit 204. I watched her face as we walked through the renovated 2-bedroom. Fresh paint, new appliances, hardwood floors. It was perfect for them and they knew it. Rent is $1,800, I said. First, last, and security deposit. I'll need pay stubs from both of you, employment verification, and 3 references. Everly told everyone. Within 48 hours my phone exploded. My mother called first. Lillian Marie Thompson, why am I hearing from your cousin that you own buildings? Multiple buildings. Mama Jean left them to me. Left them, she choked on the words. Why would she do that? I'm her daughter. Deshaun is her grandson. Why would she skip over us and give everything to you? The hurt in her voice was real, but so was the entitlement. She made her choice, Mama. I'm honoring it. This is wrong. This is so wrong. We need to meet. Family meeting this Sunday. Everyone's coming. I almost laughed. When I was struggling, barely eating, wearing shoes with holes. No family meetings. But now that I had something, emergency session. Sunday came. I drove to Uncle Mateo's house in Hayward where they were all gathered. 14 relatives crammed into the living room, all staring at me like I'd robbed a bank. Uncle Mateo started. Lillian, we're concerned. You're young, inexperienced. Real estate is complicated. We think you should sell the properties and split the money with the family. It's what Mama Jean would have wanted. Actually, I said calmly, Mama Jean specifically wanted me to have them. It's in her will. Mr. Scott can confirm. My mother's sister, Aunt Denise, leaned forward. But baby, we're family. Family shares. Your grandmother was our mother too. We deserved something. She left you things. Her jewelry, her Bible, her photo albums. You got what she wanted you to have. Deshawn shook his head. This is messed up, Lillian. You know how much we're struggling right now. Struggling? His wife's Instagram was full of vacation photos and designer strollers. Aunt Lorraine, the one who'd mocked me at the reunion, suddenly got teary. Lillian, honey, I'm about to lose my apartment. Landlord's raising the rent to $2,200. I can't afford it. I heard you have vacancies. Could you help family out? This was the woman who'd said I'd end up homeless. Now she wanted my help. I do have a vacancy, I said. 1 bedroom, $1,600 a month. Same application process as everyone else. Credit check, employment verification, references. $1,600? Lillian, I'm your aunt. Can't you give me a family discount? This is my business. Everyone pays market rate. Uncle Mateo slammed his hand on the coffee table. See? This is exactly why young people shouldn't inherit money. No respect, no loyalty. Your grandmother would be ashamed. Something in me snapped. Ashamed? Mama Jean knew exactly what she was doing. She knew who worked 3 jobs to visit her every week. Who helped her grocery shop and clean her apartment. Who listened to her stories. That was me. Just me. Where were all of you? My mother's face flushed. We were busy. We had families, responsibilities. And I didn't. I was working 70-hour weeks, barely surviving, but I made time for her. Because I loved her. Not because I thought she had money. I didn't know about any of this. I loved her because she was the only one who believed in me. The room went silent. Deshawn finally spoke. So what, you're saying we didn't care about Grandma? I'm saying Mama Jean made her choice. And I'm respecting it. Over the next month, half my family applied to rent from me. It was almost funny. The same people who'd laughed at that certificate were now filling out applications, listing me as their potential landlord. Everly and Jerome, denied. His employment history was spotty. Her credit was wrecked from maxed-out credit cards. I sent a professional email explaining why. He called me screaming. You're really going to deny us? Family. You're really going to apply with a 540 credit score and 3 months of pay stubs? Jerome's had 4 jobs in 2 years. We need a place to live. Then find a landlord who doesn't do background checks. I'm running a business. Aunt Lorraine, denied. 2 evictions in 5 years, owed her previous landlord $4,000. My cousin Aiden. Approved but barely. He was the only one with decent credit and stable employment. He worked as a nurse at Highland Hospital, actually had his life together. He moved into Unit 305. Thanks for the chance, cuz, he said when he picked up his keys. And for the record, that certificate thing at the reunion was messed up. I wanted to say something, but family loyalty, I finished. Yeah. I'm sorry. It was the only apology I'd receive. My mother called weekly, begging me to reconsider Aunt Lorraine's application. He's going to be homeless, Lillian. Your own aunt on the streets. How can you live with yourself? She has options. She's choosing not to take them because she wants me to save her. I'm not a charity. I enrolled in real estate courses at Berkeley Extension. Quit the diner. This wasn't a windfall to me anymore. It was a career. Diane taught me everything. How to spot good investments, how to negotiate with contractors, how to handle difficult tenants. You're a natural, she said one afternoon as we reviewed financials. Most people who inherit property like this either sell immediately or run it into the ground. You're building something. I bought my fifth property in late 2016, a 6-unit building in Old Oakland foreclosure sale. Needed massive work. I hired a Black-owned construction company, lived in one unit while they renovated the others. I learned to patch drywall, install fixtures, read building codes. My family didn't understand. My mother told everyone I was playing landlord, like it was a phase. Deshawn said I'd gotten lucky, that I didn't actually know what I was doing. But my bank account said otherwise. By 2017 I had 52 units generating income. I'd paid off Mama Jean's mortgages, reinvested profits, built an empire. I ran into Everly at Target one Saturday. She looked exhausted, older than her 30 years. "Hey," she said quietly. "I heard you bought another building." "2 more, actually." She fidgeted with her cart handle. "We're living with Jerome's brother now." "It's not good. Is there any way? Get your credit together. Get him a steady job for at least a year. Then reapply." "A year? Lillian, we need help now." "Then you should have thought about that before you made me a certificate mocking my poverty." Her eyes filled. "That was years ago. I was young and stupid. So was I. But I still showed up for Mama Jean." In 2018 my mother showed up at my office unannounced. Yes, I had an office now. A small space in uptown Oakland with 2 employees. We managed 78 units across 9 buildings. "We need to talk," she said, closing the door behind her. I looked up from my laptop. "I'm busy, Mama. Your brother lost his job. Mercedes is pregnant again. They're 3 months behind on their mortgage. The bank is threatening foreclosure." My heart sank. Not because I didn't care, I did. But because I knew what was coming. "They need $20,000 to get current," she continued. "You have it. I know you do. And if I give it to them, what happens next time? What happens when someone else needs money? You help them. That's what family does." My God, Lillian, when did you become so cold? I stood up, my hands flat on the desk. "You want to know when?" "When I was eating ramen for every meal and not one person checked on me. When I was walking 2 miles to work because I couldn't afford bus fare, and everyone was too busy to give me a ride. When Mama Jean died and I cried myself to sleep for months and nobody called. That's when." My mother's face crumpled. "That's not fair." "You know what's not fair? That certificate. That public humiliation. Everyone laughing at me, and you, my own mother. You didn't defend me. You were embarrassed of me. I was worried about you." "Worried? You were ashamed. There's a difference." He was crying now. Real tears. "Please. Deshawn is your brother. He's desperate." I sat back down, suddenly exhausted. "I'll meet with him. But no promises." Deshawn came to my office that Wednesday and I barely recognized him. The confident, successful brother who'd pitted me was gone. This man was broken. "I messed up," he said immediately. "Everything. The job, the mortgage, the investments. I was trying to keep up appearances and I buried us in debt." "How much?" $70,000. Credit cards, car loans, the mortgage. Mercedes doesn't even know how bad it is." I pulled up a chair across from him. "Tell me everything." He poured out. "The job lost 6 months ago, too proud to tell anyone. The day trading that wiped out their savings. The lifestyle they couldn't afford, maintained by credit and lies. He'd been pretending to go to work every day, sitting in coffee shops, applying for jobs that never called back. Why didn't you ask for help sooner?" He laughed bitterly. "Because I'm Deshawn Thompson. I'm the successful one. I'm the one everyone's proud of. How could I admit I'm failing?" For the first time I saw my brother. Not the golden child, not the one who had it all figured out. Just a scared man who'd made mistakes. "I can help with the $20,000 for your mortgage," I said slowly. "But it's a loan. 5% interest payment plan. And you have to tell Mercedes the truth. All of it. Today. Lillian. Those are my terms. I'm not enabling your lies. And you have to do something else. What? Apologize. For the reunion. For the certificate. For every time you made me feel less than. His voice broke. I'm sorry. God, Lillian, I'm so sorry. I was a jerk. I didn't understand what you were going through. The 2019 family reunion was scheduled for August, exactly 5 years after the certificate. My mother called to ask if I'd come. I hadn't decided until the morning of, but something pushed me to go. I pulled up in my new BMW 5 Series, not to show off but because I'd earned it. Inside the same community center, the same relatives gathered. But the energy was different now. People actually greeted me. Respectfully. Uncle Mateo approached first. Lillian. Good to see you. Looking successful. Thank you, Uncle Mateo. Listen, I wanted to apologize. For what I said at the last reunion, and for how I acted about your grandmother's will. I was out of line. I nodded. Apology accepted. Others followed. Aunt Denise, various cousins, even Aunt Lorraine, who mumbled something that might have been sorry. Everly was there with Jerome. They sat in the corner, quiet. She wouldn't meet my eyes. My mother announced activities including awards, just silly fun stuff. But I noticed there was no most likely to end up homeless category this time. After dinner I stood up. Can I say something? The room quieted. 5 years ago you gave me a certificate predicting I'd be homeless. You laughed at my struggles at my small apartment at my diner job. You made me feel worthless. I pulled out that laminated certificate from my purse. I've kept this. Not as a grudge but as a reminder. A reminder that people's cruelty can fuel your success if you let it. You could hear a pin drop. I own 83 rental units now. I employ 6 people. I've renovated buildings, improved neighborhoods, provided housing. And I did it without most of your support. Now some of you rent from me. Some of you have applied. And I'm facing a decision. I looked directly at Everly. Several of your leases are up for renewal in the next 3 months. I have to decide if I want to renew them or rent to others. Uncle Mateo shifted uncomfortably. He'd moved into one of my buildings 8 months ago after his divorce left him cash-strapped. You're wondering if I'll be petty. If I'll kick you out for revenge. I paused. The truth is I've thought about it. I fantasized about it. About making you feel powerless like you made me feel. My mother looked terrified. She'd never applied to rent from me, but her sister had, and blood ran deep. But I'm not going to do that. Everyone who's been a good tenant, paid rent on time, respected the property, your leases will be renewed. Because my business reputation matters more than revenge. And because Mama Jean taught me to be better than the people who hurt me. Relief washed across several faces. However, I continued, there will be no family discounts. No special treatment. No expecting me to fix things immediately because we share DNA. You will be treated exactly like every other tenant. Fairly but not specially. Everly finally spoke up. What about us? We never got approved. That's because you never qualified. My standards exist for a reason. Get your credit together. Jerome needs 18 months of stable employment, and you need to save up for a proper security deposit. Then reapply. That's impossible. It's not. It's just hard. But nothing worth having is easy. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. The room stayed silent. One more thing, I added. I'm starting a scholarship fund in Mama Jean's name. For family members pursuing education or starting businesses. Because she believed in investing in people even when no one else did. 6 months after that reunion, I'm standing in the courtyard of my newest acquisition, a 12-unit building in Temescal. The units are gorgeous, renovated with care. I'm proud of this one. My phone rings. Everly. Hey Lillian. Jerome got hired at the post office. Full-time benefits. He's been there 4 months. And I paid off 2 of my credit cards. My score is up to 620. That's good, Everly. Keep going. Are we getting closer to qualifying? I check my notes. You need 8 more months of his employment history and another 50 points on your credit score. But yes, you're getting closer. Hey. Okay, I can do that. She pauses. Thank you for not giving up on us completely. I haven't given up on anyone. I just have standards. There's a difference. After we hang up, I walk through the units one more time. In Unit 208, a single mother is moving in with her 2 kids. She reminds me of who I used to be, scared, struggling, but determined. Miss Thompson, she calls out. Thank you again for approving us. You don't know what this means. I do know. I know exactly what it means. That night, I drive past the old studio apartment where I lived when I got that certificate. Someone else lives there now. I think about 23-year-old Lillian crying alone, thinking she'd always be nothing. I wish I could tell her. The people who laugh at your struggles will ask for your help. The family that doubted you will need you. And when that moment comes, you'll have a choice. Become like them or become better. I chose better. My phone buzzes. Deshawn made this month's payment. Also, Mercedes and I are doing good. Marriage counseling is helping. Thanks for believing in us. I smile. Some people are worth the investment. I pull out that laminated certificate one last time. Most likely to end up homeless, Lillian Thompson. I tear it in half, then again and again until it's confetti in my hands. I don't need it anymore. The girl who needed that certificate for motivation doesn't exist. She became the woman who proved them all wrong, not through revenge but through excellence. And that's a better ending than anything I could have imagined.